guys, welcome back to another video. This is going to be another tier list video because tier lists are fun to make and the meta is always changing. And OP07 has been out in Japan for a couple of weeks now, and we've had, like the kind of been able to see what it's going to look like before old Sakazuki gets banned. So what I want to do today is kind of take a quick look at what the meta is for like OP07 right now, and then do kind of a little prediction of what it's going to look like once the old overpowered Marine gets booted out and we don't have Great Eruption and Reject anymore. So let's just jump right into it and let's get started. Alright, really quickly before we jump into the OP07 stuff, I just wanted to quickly show this is where I had everything at the end of OP06. And I think if I could rearrange this, I would maybe do like this. Maybe that. Uta was just high because she won nationals, but I really don't think she is up there. And I would maybe even do this. No. Until OP07, I think. With the new Sanji, I think Law definitely goes up, and with Sakazuki going out, I think I would just do, I don't want to spend too long on this. I would probably do something like this, to be honest. And then after EBO1 came out, none of these leaders really, we thought Dofi would be, well, we were waiting for OP07 for Dofi, right? But let's move on, because this is like a semi pre-made list. This is going off of essentially this is what I think OP07 is sitting at right now. I just haven't put in the OP07 leaders. And so this is kind of the beginning. This is the beginning. I want to do like a pre-Sakazuki and a post-Sakazuki tier list. I'll try and run through this one pretty quickly because I want to spend the most time on the latter. But obviously I've labeled everything here. Like tier 1 is ultra competitive. This is your CSs, your regionals, your nationals. Tier 1.5 is competitive. It's like you can win flagships with these, flagship plus, so like you could see it win a regional. Potentially even a national, right? Like Uta was like a kind of a black horse that won the nationals. Tier 2 is semi-competitive. This is your standard battles, which is locals up to like flagship. And then tier 3 is like local heroes. I added this tier because I felt like I didn't have enough, there wasn't an extra tier for like some of the leaders that I really think are good. They just aren't like super highly competitive, but are good enough where like if your locals doesn't have a bunch of Sakazukis or Morias, then like, yeah, Red Green Odin can actually like run the game. It can do really well, right? And if I had to just throw in the OP07 leaders here, Dragon would probably go somewhere around here. Bonnie is really good, but Sakazuki hurts it a lot, and it just unfortunately has a bad matchup in this a lot of like some of the top tier decks, I feel like. So I'd probably put Bonnie somewhere around here. Foxy would probably be like a local hero just for the meme. Hancock is good, but she won't be that good until OP07, like when Sakazuki goes away in my book. And then same with Vegapunk. I think once Sakazuki goes away, Vegapunk actually has a really good shot, but for now I'm going to put him in here. And then Lucci is the same, where Lucci is really, really strong. He did get a lot of the support that I was wondering if he would get, because the leader himself is not that strong, but the support and the combos with like Spandam, Spandine, Rebecca, Moria, all that stuff is pretty crazy. But with Sakazuki around, it's the fallacy of like, or like the problem of like, if there is a better, if Sakazuki is just slightly better than whatever black or blue leader, then he's just gonna gatekeep all those leaders, or like, just people are gonna use him, right? So I'd put him in like the semi-competitive tier, probably, I guess. This will all change once Sakazuki goes away. And then I have some maybes, like, I guess this could be, these are kind of, Vivi is a crazy dark horse here. We'll talk about it in a second, but I don't want to spend too much time on this. This is kind of my general feeling of it. OP07, honestly, I would put Enel as best deck in format, but I think the numbers just show Sakazuki a little bit higher, so I'm just going to keep him here. And since he's on his way out, we'll give him the old win. We'll give him a win here. But let's jump over now to the actual like post Sakazuki ban list, because that's what I want to actually like do a little bit more of a deep dive on. Okay. Now we're on, it's April 1st. You wake up, you see the news, you read the newspaper. It's not a joke. Your dreams have come true. It's not a joke. The king has fallen. Where is he? I don't even know where he is. Where are you, King? There you are, King. The fallen hero. I didn't know what to put here, so I just put fallen heroes. He's not a hero. He should be fallen villains, really. But yeah, Sakazuki's gone. You wake up, you get your cup of coffee, you breathe a breath of fresh air, and you say, it's finally over. It's finally over. And then you look at the headline right under that, and you see the new OP07 tier list, and this is what it's gonna look like. All right, so in my opinion, what it's looking right now, I think Enel is gonna be best deck in format, even after Sakazuki is gone, and even after you lose Reject. I think it's just, I mean, I could be wrong, but Enel is so oppressively strong right now with the new 10-cost ace and just little additions like Frankie, the Egghead Luffy is really versatile in Enel. You just play like Kikunojo and a few like tech cards, like some people run the 2-cost blocker Shirahoshi, and a few other things, and then it's all just your big guys, right? It's like counter, it's like Kikunojo, counter, or some blocker tech, and then literally it's just Yamato, Ace, Katakuri, and then obviously you can run Linlin, 7-cost Linlin. It's just so good. 10-cost Ace probably should not have existed, unfortunately. Enel is so oppressive right now. I think if he continues just to be best deck in format after OP07, we might see him get banned. Like, I'm being serious. I think he's that good. And I like Enel, which sucks because I really like him as a leader. I played him a lot in OP05. Didn't really play him in OP06 because just I'm a Yamato guy. But I was actually, with Yamato kind of falling off a little bit, I was excited to play Enel. But then I just see how many people are playing Enel. And I'd still say Enel mirror is probably more fun than a Sakazuki mirror, but man, I don't like playing the most popular deck, especially if I know I'm going to be running into a bunch of mirrors, so it's a little bit unfortunate. Once OP07 comes out on the sim, I will be playing a lot of Enel, but just for now, I'm focusing on the slightly more off-meta decks, or just slightly less strong ones that are just more fun to play, because you know you're not going to run into a mirror every other game. But I'm putting Enel up at the top, and let's see, I'll just do this maybe how these are ordered and like fix it as I go. Reiju is kind of crazy because Reiju has like one of the best matchup spreads for out of any leader through OP06 and OP07, which is crazy that it like isn't so much better. It's really weird. It's like a weird paradox kind of thing. I guess the deck just isn't consistent enough to stay like to keep beating all the matchups that it should win, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So I don't know, it's gonna be somewhere around here. We'll put her here for now. Moria. If Great Eruption wasn't banned, he would maybe Moria would even be best deck in format, so it's really good that they banned Great Eruption too. But I think he's gonna be pretty ultra competitive, just because I think the early tempo with black, Moria is the only black deck that gets this early tempo. Like Lucci kind of does it a little bit, but not the same. You're getting out smaller bodies with Lucci, and you're just using them as combo pieces, so it's a lot closer, a lot more similar to our fallen hero down here. But for now, I'm gonna put Moria way up at the top. Katakuri, man, it's crazy how much like losing one card just destroys a deck. And I could be wrong. Losing Reject could really, really hurt Enel, and it may be like a little bit further down on the tier 1. But Katakuri, man, Katakuri just like losing Reject, and just the fact that like 10-cost Ace works so well on Enel, it's kind of the Sakazuki effect, where it's like, why play yellow when, like, why play a different yellow deck when you can just play Enel? That's kind of what it's becoming. So I'm gonna put him, he's probably gonna be pretty low on tier 2 for me. It's kind of crazy, but I know it sounds kind of nuts, but he really falls off a bit with the loss of Reject. Good old Zoro. Zoro is kind of like Nami, where it's like kind of just like a anti-meta deck that just always, aggro is always good into certain matchups. Like, you know, Yamato and Zoro were probably the best matchups into Sakazuki, which gave them a really high like a push to be higher on the tier list, you know, just inherently. But I think, yeah, I think he'll be here. I'd probably put him above Katakuri, honestly, just with like Kid and Killer and potential matchups. I don't know, it might be hard. With like a Nell as best deck in format and Moria, I feel like Zoro just has obviously a terrible time into Nell. Moria is debatable. I don't know. I think Zoro kind of struggles into Moria though, if I'm being honest. Yeah, it just depends, right? It just depends. Red Purple Law though, we'll keep Zoro there for now. But Red Purple Law, we're going up here. I think I'm gonna put Red Purple Law in front of Moria. Red Purple Law is just so good right now because Red Purple Law does have a few bad matchups. Like, you know, some of the more aggro builds, like Yamato, especially Sky Island aggro build, just stomps Red Purple Law like pretty heavily. Even in OP07, even without reject, I think Yamato is favored in that matchup, and most of the other builds too. I just think in general, Yamato is favored into Red Purple Law, which is like the one saving grace of Yamato for OP07. Also the fact that Red Purple Law is so strong, it's like Reiju's like worst possible matchup ever. So when you have one of the top tier decks being like your worst possible matchup, it's gonna, you know, it's gonna hurt. But I would put him up here. He's definitely like top 2, 3, 4 decks of the whole tier. Yamato, we got Yamato. And obviously, I always say this, I'm biased because I'm a yellow-green Yamato main. It's my favorite deck. I love the versatility of all the builds. I don't care. Call it... People hate on this deck, and I know they get angry at it, but it's like dude, trust me, it's like Enel was in OP05. Once you learn how to play around Yamato, you see that it's not as strong as people think it is. There are definitely ways to play around it. Moria is like almost impossible for Yamato to win, no matter how good the player is. I have so much fun playing the leader, and I like to build different decks, and just being able to build 2 or 3 different decks that I can just change around and like bring one to locals the one day and a different deck list the next day and still perform well with both of them is just so much fun for me as a player. Plus I love Yamato as a character. I'd probably put Yamato above Reiju, but we're just gonna keep it there for now. We'll fill this out. Now I think Yamato it's really hard. Reiju might have to come down here too. We may have to do something like this. We'll fix this as we go. But I do want to just point out, with the loss of reject and with Sakazuki being gone, the deck that actually, the top tier deck that got hurt the most was Yamato. Because in the larger tournaments, Yamato could thrive because your matchups were going to be like probably 20-30% Sakazuki's guaranteed at the higher level, just because so many people are playing Sakazuki. And because so many people were playing Sakazuki, Moria fell off a lot, especially in Japan. And then you saw Red Purple Law on the rise as well. So it's like you could almost guarantee like 40% of your matchups to be Sakazuki and Red Purple Law, which is amazing for Yamato. That's what every Yamato player wants to see, with an occasional like Enel, which is a difficult matchup for Yamato. But as long as they win that one, or the occasional like, you know, whatever, like the off meta Katakuri, not that he's off meta, but you know, occasional Katakuri or a Moria or an Enel, like it was doable. It gave Yamato a great chance to kind of get higher up and like win the big tournaments. And without that, and without reject, which is essentially Yamato's way of winning against 5 life leaders like in a consistent way, it sucks because Yamato needed that card so much, and I feel like it was the deck that abused it the least. It was just a good way for Yamato to have some kind of KO outside of Gidatsu. But I don't want to go on too long about that. But yeah, because of that, I would love to put Yamato like up here in like tier 1.5, but I don't think I can. If you're a good player, and if you're reading the meta well, and you choose whichever build, Wano Kuni, the Wano country is coming back. I've been trying my best. I've been relearning with some of the new green Wano cards like Hiyori and Otama. But I think give it a few more weeks. Give it once Sakazuki's gone, give it a few more weeks or a month, and you'll see the better Yamato players will kind of crack the code, and they'll definitely be. You can win a flagship. I don't know if you'll see them played a lot at the higher CS level and stuff come, I think like June, end of May, June, but we'll have to see. Uta I think is okay. It's weird. I think you just, yeah. Uta's weird because she's really consistent and she's a really good leader, but she doesn't have like the punching power that some of these other leaders do. Just as far as like just being such a domineering force, like these three decks up here. And maybe I'm putting Moria too high. We'll put Moria down here, just because losing Great Eruption actually is an extremely huge blow. Perona is like kind of like a TBD, like to be decided kind of thing. We haven't like a few people have been getting some wins with Perona and like locals and stuff with some fun new builds, but I just don't think she's really doing anything too crazy. Whitebeard, I'm just gonna put as a local hero. I think every now and then he could maybe win a flagship if it was just like a cracked Whitebeard player, and if like the aggro meta was kind of hot at the time, because that's always when he's come back. It's just when like Whitebeard aggro works for a certain point of time, so then they just do that. Dofi, people thought he was going to be a lot stronger. I don't know if I can put him any higher than like maybe here. I don't know. I think Hancock's just the better blue leader actually. I think even though you like can't ever whiff anymore, it's somehow still not consistent enough to I don't know. It's really hard to explain, but he just doesn't seem that good. Red green law is going to be a maybe. I have this maybe tier here. Sorry if I forgot to explain it. This is going to be like, it's really too hard to tell until Sakazuki is actually gone, so that's why we're putting them there. Nami is kind of crazy. Nami is actually so good in the meta right now because she has a pretty easy matchup against Enel, which is like one of the if not the best deck. Pretty good matchup into like Black Yellow Luffy and some other slower decks too. So you're gonna see like some of the slow plays coming back in OP07, which I do think gives a chance for like Zoro and Yamato to kind of sneak in. If the meta gets too slow, some of these aggro decks are gonna come back in. That's why Whitebeard's up here too. Bella Betty is actually like, again, I'm gonna put her in maybe because I've seen Bella Betty actually does pretty well into like a lot of the more top tier decks. I feel like just that aggro, man. The aggro I think is just, you know, when it works, right? Dragon, I want to play more Dragon. I haven't been able to play him in real life, but I've played against him and he seems okay. He's okay. This is gonna be a local hero for sure. Bonnie is up there. Bonnie is maybe. I want to put Bonnie right here, but she just has too many like kind of slightly unfavorable matchups in the very top tier, where like I don't know if she can win. Like she loses to Nami, right? It's too slow of a deck, and then loses to like. I think she's okay against Enel. No, I'm sorry. I think most of these decks, I think Red Purple Law beats Bonnie as well. She might be like the top of the 1.5. I thought Bonnie was going to be way higher. I thought she was going to be extremely oppressive and like just domineering, but unfortunately I think she just has a hard time into some of the higher tier decks. Even though I know I'm putting her right here, but like some of these decks right here in these three rows just give her a hard time, where it was kind of like Yamato in OP06, where it's a really strong leader, but it has like the largest amount of unfavorable matchups against the top tier decks. So at a certain point, it kind of became hard. And like I said, the saving grace was Sakazuki was like one of its best matchups. Bonnie unfortunately doesn't have that. Where, I mean, it does pretty well into NL. I'm not gonna lie, but I think it just struggles into a lot of the other decks. And yeah, like yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Purple Luffy, I'm gonna put maybe, just because Purple's getting some like potential, like not having Sakazuki around. Your 5-cost blockers are really strong. Sorry, I know I skipped into the OP07 leaders there for a second. I don't know. I'm not sure why I did that. We're gonna put Iceberg as a maybe, just because I think he's just really underrated. Blue Yellow Ace, I'm gonna put here, maybe here. I think he's really strong. With the new 6-cost or 5-cost 6k ace blocker that lets you look at the top 2 cards and place them in any order on the top or bottom, I believe. Really strong. I'm actually about to start testing him again in real life. Rebecca, I think, is maybe, just with the Sakazuki gone. I think she has a chance. Red Yellow Sabo is probably like a local hero. Red Ace is definitely going back into maybe, just because there's some builds that have been kind of floating around and people saying like might be good. Vivi is the top of maybe. Vivi could be like up here. There's some players right now that are doing some crazy stuff with Vivi in the local scene, and they're basically winning against a lot of these like top tier decks, and pretty crazily. Like Sakazuki's not even gone yet, and once Sakazuki is gone, then Vivi has a real chance to shine. I think like this is where I would put her actually, like right now, just right now, if we're looking at the performances I've seen. But she's gonna go at the top of maybe, just because we can't really say for sure. Purple Yellow Croc is a local hero for sure. I think he got a lot stronger. Maybe even here, he got a lot stronger from EB01 and OP07. Kid is probably like the tail end of the local heroes. Yellow Black Luffy is gonna go right here. I think I'm actually gonna put Black Yellow Luffy right here, just because these are two of its like worst matchups. And some people say that like Black Yellow Luffy is good into Red Purple Law and Enel, but I do not agree. I think it struggles into a lot of these decks, and like Nami destroys Black Yellow Luffy. Vivi destroys Black Yellow Luffy for the most part. Like as long as the Vivi player like knows the deck decently, knows the leader like even decently, I think it's just game over. So you're seeing a lot of these weird kind of like almost like not ironic, but these weird like just power triangles that are happening, these weird matchups that are just like throwing everything off, right? Red Green Odin, I'm gonna put him, I want to put him here, but I don't think I can. I'm gonna put him at the, I'll put him at the end of like competitive, semi-competitive, just because it's a really strong leader. Struggles into black, but it does have some good matchups, and I personally think it's pretty good into yellow. So like decent into Enel, but I don't know about Black Yellow Luffy. I think it's okay. It really depends. We haven't seen it. I'm gonna put it at the top of local heroes. Red Purple Luffy, I don't know. This is I think I'm actually gonna put him back here. I'm not sure what he was doing over there. Queen, I just got to give a shout out because people get mad at me for putting Queen like off meta, and I'm sorry. I don't think 9-cost Sanji is as good as people think, and otherwise we'd see him winning more, you know. But local hero for sure. I'll put him right here. And then with Sakazuki gone, Sabo is a definite maybe. Just great leader effect. It stops KOs from happening, and you know, has a decent. It's just the red-black problem, right? The color combo. Boa Hancock, I'm gonna put her, you know what, I think she goes here. This might be a hot take, but I really think Boa Hancock's really good. The 6-cost character Boa Hancock is amazing, and just having like blue is extremely strong against Black Yellow Luffy. It's pretty strong against Enel, because the thing is, if you run your red rocks, if you run your gravity blades, really red rock is the thing that hurts Enel, because gravity blade is like what you can bottom deck a Kikunojo or a Shirahoshi or something, right? But really it's those red rocks that you need. So but it does so well into a lot of other matchups. Like I feel like Hancock is good into Bonnie because it can bottom deck a lot of its blockers and stuff, although Basil Hawkins is decent for kind of dealing with some of that stuff. But I do think just in general Boa Hancock is better than Dofi. A lot of people are playing her to some good results right now. Again, this is all pretty speculative, so please take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. Foxy is going to be a meme local hero. He's not an actual meme, but you know, he's just a meme guy. I don't know. This one could jump up, we'll see. I just don't think he's that strong. Lucci. I think the old Luch might go like around here, maybe. I feel like he's just, since with Sakazuki gone, Lucci jumps up a lot because he's the next best thing. I did call him Diet Sakazuki in my OP07 leader preview thing, and I was like, man, I would think I was wrong. But then if you really do think about it, like if Sakazuki's there, he is Diet Sakazuki. So I don't think I was actually wrong, but I do think he is really strong, stronger than I thought he was going to be. So I will admit that 100%. I don't think he's I don't think I could put him at tier 1. In fact, I may even do something like this. I don't know. This is kind of hard. Let's do Vegapunk, and then we'll kind of take a last look. Vegapunk, I love this leader. I love this leader so much. I finally built out the deck. I pulled the Alt Art leader and the Alt Art Lilith, so it was calling my name. I built out the deck. I finally bought 4 8 cost categories after like 2 years. And now, here's the thing, man. I brought this bad boy to locals the other day, and I beat a Bonnie and I beat Nanelle. And that's not easy to do. That's not easy to do. And yeah, sure, you win some, you lose some. Sometimes you're just going to win. But this bad boy can go toe-to-toe with some of the better leaders. I do think he will struggle. Obviously, like Yamato kills Vegapunk. I haven't played against Red Purple Law, but I would venture to say Red Purple Law is pretty good against Vegapunk. Just being able to, because you're flooding the board. This is the thing. If you play it slow and try and just build up your life, you lose. You have to like play this thin line of playing out characters with leader effect and occasionally putting them into life, putting your Robins, the 2-cost Robins, into life so you can get the 2 cards, or playing, you know, if you play a 5-cost and then also put something in life, that's the plays that you're doing. And it's going to depend if you can build the board fast enough that Law can't get rid of and start aggroing into him. Same with Enel. If it comes to the end game, which Vegapunk's good for the end game, but if it comes to the end game against Enel, you're gonna lose. If it comes to the end game against Bonnie, you might lose. So you have to, but the good thing is you can choose to go for the long game, or you can choose to be aggro, and it's kind of like up to you to decide, which is really fun. It's a versatile deck, and I think I would put him right here at the end of competitive. Just because I think people are sleeping on if I have one hot take this entire thing, I think people are sleeping on Vegapunk. And I think once you see, because I thought blue would destroy him. I played one of my friends who was playing Hancock, and I built my board so fast they couldn't get rid of everything. And they played like a 3000 world. They played a gravity blade. So they're bottom decking, you know, 2, 3, 4 characters throughout, like, you know, multiple turns. I still was able to just, you get those early 5-6k attacks in the first couple of turns where they're either losing all the cards in their hand or they're taking life when they don't want to. It's and obviously, yeah, people are still learning how to play against it, so that's a factor. But I think if there's one real true dark horse, it's Vegapunk or Vivi, I guess. But this is my new favorite leader out of OP07, and it's like I was right when I was saying I think this is a good thing for yellow, because it's not like there's no BS triggers. You see everything you're about to hit into, and if it is something that you don't see, it's normally just playing a character onto the board. There's no real new beiges. There's no, because that Zoro, the beige Zoro card, like, doesn't even get run that much. There's way less of the stuff that people actually hate about the color yellow. So I really urge you to give this leader a chance, and to, like, don't dismiss it. Don't sleep on this leader. I think it's going to be really good. I think it could climb up, but for now, I think this is the highest I can put it. I'm going to put Yamato above Dofi. Sorry. that was bugging me. So as a yellow-green Yamato main, I'm okay with this. I think this is pretty similar to what a lot of other, like, Japanese people are putting. I do think maybe it's like this. Maybe this would be it. Nami is just a secret killer. She has great matchups into a lot of these other leaders. Yeah, I mean, like, I could be wrong. Don't get me wrong. I could be wrong. So take this all with a grain of salt. If you have an opinion as to what I got wrong, and if you have, like, actual, like, something that to be like, yo, you forgot to, like, look at it this way, and that's why this should be this, please let me know. As always, just keep it classy in the comments. Yeah, this is my post Sakazuki OP07 from April 1st predicted tier list. Again, this is just predictions going off of very limited data and just, like, kind of what I've seen and kind of what I've experienced playing in the wild, in the OP07 wild. But thank you so much for watching. I will be doing another OP07 tier list, you know, once we get new stuff that comes out, and like the new starter deck, and just, you know, as the meta develops, I'll be doing another 2 or 3 for the rest of the OP07 season, so look forward to those. But just for now, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.